So this is Way's Wicked and Raw. You know, we back with another episode. Today I got Markquis. Markquis does a variety of different things, so I'm gonna let him go ahead and introduce and tell y'all what he does.
Oh man. Well, I think the reason I'm here is specifically my director of photography, cinematography stuff that I've been doing recently. My background is in more videography type stuff, and I've just progressively learned how to get into the cinema world, and it's just a new challenge, and I've got a couple of projects under my belt. And is that answering the question? Like,
yeah.
Okay, cinematography. It's the next step after kind of just point and shoot. Got your fancy little camcorder and filming events and stuff like that. It's time to do some more creative type stuff like movies and commercials.
You own your own business, right?
Yes. Yeah. I have a World Tree Videography that technically still exists. I'm on and off. I'm like more of an extreme hobbyist. I have a wife and kids and a day job that I love, so those really take precedence. It's just, as a creative person, you just got to have those extra outlets, and there's just nowhere to stop. Like whenever I get home, it's like either crash out from going 100 miles an hour or create something, and 90% of the time I got to create something. So yeah. I'm a glutton for punishment. Just 50 hours a week, if not more.
Oh yeah, it's
creative people understand that. Yeah. If you're watching this, you're probably interested in creative things, so you're probably like, oh, I get it, totally. Brain doesn't shut off.
Yeah, then like the cool thing about like these little things that I do like this, especially is like I put their links in the description, especially like Facebook, because if you're creative and you see somebody that's creative or has that same passion, like, because I have a few different interviews, like you can go at them, like especially this guy, he's doing a lot of wonderful things, and just he sees things that most people don't. You. So, and one thing I was gonna ask, like, what's one like film or something that you would love to talk about that you've done or that you've shot, edited, or
it's not out. Prior to what I'm working on currently is the Zacker documentary, and it's about a basketball coach from 68 to 72. Was in Nowata. He was a white guy. He had some African American kids on his team, and the team in 1960 or 72, the team elected him team captain, and that meant that he was going to be the homecoming king. Well, at that time, that wasn't kosher because there was going to be a white homecoming queen. And so the first two homecoming queens, for whatever reasons, weren't able to walk with an African-American guy. And so the funny thing is, I didn't tell you about this, my aunt was the third runner-up and actually walked with the guy.
Oh,
and I met him, and I keep forgetting his name, and I'm so sorry. Super sweet guy. So is he
going to be in the documentary?
Yeah, they're going to be in the documentary. Awesome. So my aunt is being interviewed for that. So I'm really passionate about this Zacker documentary. It was big news back in '72. I mean, whenever they were having the homecoming thing, the KKK was going to show up, and the Black Panthers were going to show up, and the whole town was all nervous and everything. It's going to be an awesome documentary. Most likely, I think we're looking at PBS, but Chuck Price, Dane Warner. Chuck is the director, Dane Warner is the producer. These guys have some pretty legit clout. They're awesome crew to work with, and Chuck is amazing. He's kind of my mentor. Kind of helped me into the cinematography world, kind of branching out from the videography world. But it's going to be an awesome one. That's the one I'm most proud of so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
You haven't started it yet? Yeah,
no, we have wrapped almost all the shooting. As of now, it's the 12th of September?
Yeah.
Where did half of September go?
Right.
We've wrapped all the big film days up. I think we have 3 or 4, little bits and pieces to put together, but we're in edit basically. So it'd be a couple more months before it's out, from what I understand. But that all changes. Yeah. I'm just one of the 2-3 cinematographers on the deal. So.
So how does like filmmaking now compared to like when you very first started? Like, was there a big leap that you felt like you had to go through, or is it just like slowly stacking? I mean, because to me, I've been I don't know how long I've been doing this, but I feel like I learn something every day, like something new.
No, if you're not
like
learning something new every day,
Yeah.
then you're not doing it right. Even Chuck, we came up with a new term. We were lighting a scene down in a really dark
Alley?
no, down in the bottom of a locker room.
Oh.
And it was really weird, and it was casting weird shadows and stuff like that. And I was on another camera, and Chuck asked me how everything looked through my lens, and I was like, well, we're getting a lot of Peter Pans over here. And he knew exactly what I was talking about. Peter Pans is not a technical term at all. No. But what would you think if we were lighting a scene and I said,
shadows.
man, I'm getting... Yes, exactly, exactly. And Chuck bought onto that. He's like, I knew exactly what you're talking about. I'd never heard that term before. And I was like, I totally just made it up. But our main character has kind of a very distinct profile. And his face was like just profiled in shadow right next to the teammates or the players and stuff, and I just said, it looks like I got Peter Pan over here, and Chuck was like, what? And I said, oh, we're Peter Panning over here. And he goes, I knew exactly what you're talking about. So it's always, you're always learning stuff. But we were just casting too many shadows for the scene. But to answer your question, to be fair, I've probably done 15 years of videography, and so whenever you say film, you know, you get some of those like curmudgeons like film's not video or video's not film and all that kind of stuff. I've done a bunch of short films with like TU students, OSU students over the years. I probably have like 7 little short films that were really for them. So I was using video cameras and faking it. You know how you can try to throw that depth of field, you know, shoot really long and get that shallower depth of field look. But I've only really, quote unquote, been filmmaking for a year. I mean, that's the crazy part about it. And now I'm sitting here with you, who's been to film school, and I've been lucky. I've been on a couple projects. I was on 1921 Black Wall Street in Nowata, and then this Ken Zacker documentary that's in Nowata, and then with our buddy Kevin, we're doing a thriller, Shatterman.
Shatterman.
Yeah, this is where I met Angel.
It's gonna be good one day. We actually have a lot of talent on there, like just behind the film and in front of the camera. Like I think it's gonna be one that's gonna be really out there.
We've worked with a lot of the same guys on multiple sets. I have 2 guys. I'll do a shout out: Jaron G Sharp and Calvin. Calvin's been on all 3 of my projects so far. So
Calvin,
we need to make sure that they're watching. Man, you would ask that. Don't ask that in front of people. Last names, I'm lucky that I can remember names to begin with. But as far as how it's changed, I would say a good answer for anybody that might be like looking or watching this podcast for just kind of an education point of view is up until 7-8 years ago, most things were filmed on tape or actual film. And the digital part has really streamlined a lot of stuff, which has also created a bunch of issues like noise, you know, with your ISO noise and stuff like that. So there's the approach has changed a little bit, but as far as it's changed, for me, just stay up with the technology.
Right. And this is what he told me earlier. Like we was talking about our parents not wanting bigger TVs or things look like it pops out at you. Like
I'm totally that guy that doesn't want to learn new stuff. I quit editing because I couldn't keep up with cameras, or well, not cameras, but computers and stuff like that could handle 4K footage. That's what kept me away from the Blackmagic 4K for the longest time, because I just didn't have the gear to process it. But I realized I don't want to edit anymore. I realized I can just go on set and just film, just run camera. So I don't want to do more than one thing on set.
Right.
That's a big.
And I think that's where me and my business partner took a turn. It's because we took on more than we can handle, but you know we got it done, and it looks phenomenal. Like the dude down, he like color graded and made it look like really good.
It's all a learning process.
Yeah.
Man, I was part of a big project that I did too many things, and I was just drove myself nuts because I was doing props and I did locations and I did, you know, I was lighting and I was trying to help the sound person understand how to do the sound, and I was doing cinematography, and it was like,
and then you got people
can't
who
do that no
are
more.
unappreciative
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no names, but we know who you are.
Right.
What makes you uncomfortable? Like when you're on set, is it, like say the heat on the back of your neck, or just people just getting under your skin because they're not doing what you see, or you know what I mean? What makes you uncomfortable in that line of work?
Man, I could answer this a couple different ways. I'm kind of tedious, and I tell some people whenever I'm on set, like if I'm in work mode, I have like this RBF. And I tell people early on, I'm a happy-go-lucky, get along with people kind of guy. There's very few people that I don't get along with, but the people that I don't, like that 5% that I don't, I'm not good at not being good, like having good relationships with people. So, but for me on set, I'm focused, and I've even went and told people, hey, if I got this face, it's not you. I'm not being rude or anything. I'm just very focused. I'm thinking where our next scene's going to be, how I'm going to set this next rig up, what lens am I going to use, are we going to have to relight, or we got shadows, or we got reflections, we got, whatever. I'm just hyper focused. And it's not that I'm uncomfortable, it's just it does get irritating whenever you don't have, I don't consider myself a professional. I have been paid to do some of this stuff before, but whenever you have somebody that just has no idea what they're doing and it's an integral part of the whole thing, then it's that's what makes me uncomfortable, I guess.
When people who
my fly rig vest is really
like
heavy.
they know what they're doing, but really don't. There's a lot of those out there, and
it's people trying to learn. I'm not trying to be hateful, but whenever we have 40 some cast and crew, know your role. If it's a baseball team, it's a baseball team. Be the best right fielder you can possibly be. Don't try to come in and play shortstop. Be a right fielder. Just be awesome at right field.
Or a ghost runner.
Yeah. Just everybody's important on a film set that I've come to. But.
Yes, sir. Because you gotta have all that creative talent to actually create something. Because if you don't, I don't know. I guess you're just making vlogs. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there is a big difference between vloggers and filmmakers. A lot of people don't understand that. I'm not even gonna get into that. It's gonna be a whole different story. It's gonna be a whole different concept.
I will derail too much, anyways.
But how's my whole process just went out the window, because I was about to get into the vlogging and filmmaking.
I'm creative minds do this.
Yeah. What's one thing you would change in filming, to either ease it up or just something that you see a lot of people doing that they shouldn't?
Okay, and this is kind of a generic one, but in my experience, and this is something I've learned a million other times. There's a ton of YouTubers and filmmakers that we've talked to that will say most people don't realize how important your audio is. You can have a beautiful, angles and lights and all this kind of stuff, and you can have a beautiful image, but if the audio is not there, it takes you out of it. And I've been a part of some of those that the audio was not taken seriously, and it's just soul crushing to see this gorgeous footage and then you don't know what to do with it because the audio is not there. And it's bang for the buck. This is a sweet little mic. I've got 2 of them.
No, I'm just talking about the way I have it. I've never.
Oh, this is doing what we need it to do.
It's pretty funny because I was like, oh, the table opens up. So
yeah.
It looks. If this doesn't work, I'm quitting filming. And everything.
Nobody probably even noticed what was going on until you mentioned that.
But now they're gonna be like, oh, that dude, that's creative. When I told you, was it Sean for one?
Oh, right.
Taping shit to the end of his mic to the end of was it a mop stick? Don't get mad. I'm just saying, bro.
I've done it with a paint stick, telescope and paint stick,
right.
And duct tape. Didn't even have gaffer's tape or anything.
But you gotta do what you gotta do to get it done.
Yep.
Yeah, like he said, you can have the most amazing picture, but if your audio isn't working, unless you're what's that dude's name? I was just watching his the dude who started the films. I cannot remember his name right now. Not Buster Keaton.
Oh, I might not know. The weird thing about me is, much as I'm involved in making films and stuff like that, I'm not the biggest, like, I hate this word, cinephile.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not, like, I know the stuff that I like, but I'm not, like, going and, like, oh, this classic movie is so great.
Dude, that's what.
Not.
Dude, they pounded that in our heads in school. Like, they started from the very beginning, and like just made us watch every video.
I appreciate it, but I'm just not good at that. And whenever people bring up names, I'm like, oh, that, sure, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Charlie Chaplin, that's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're Charlie Chaplin, you don't need audio.
There you go. Yeah.
Do it.
We're shooting soundies for now.
For real, right? How would you like people to remember you? Like, like on films, like would you like your name to be on every piece of credits or?
No.
No?
So my mentor, and I keep Chuck Price, he's a guy that was in Hollywood a lot, but he did a lot of commercials, traveled the world, got to do a lot of cool things, was involved with a lot of a lot of A-list actors and all that kind of stuff. He led a pretty low-key life. He's from my hometown of Nowata, and what I would like to be remembered for is the body of work. My dream job would be to be a documentary filmmaker that made enough money to support my family and kind of do some traveling would be nice. I'm not super ambitious on the financial end of it, but that is a necessary evil to continue to do your art and your to make films. You gotta have money. But my buddy, who I really started doing film stuff with, Jeff Gabor, shout out to him. He's on some big projects. He's on a Scorsese film over in Osage County. You guys might know what it is.
Of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, and I can actually talk about that now because he's credited or whatever. But
he is.
We've talked about like what would we want to be. Do we want our names of it? Like, no, we're not looking for. I don't want to be recognized. I don't want to be recognized. I'm not even real super comfortable being on this side of the camera. I'd rather be
on that side.
Yeah, I'd rather be bringing light to something that is impactful to the world. I want somebody to walk out of a movie theater or get up off the couch after watching a documentary and go, "Oh my gosh, man, we need to be better as a human race."
Right.
That's kind of what I think that answers your question.
What's a piece of advice or something you learned from somebody that you still to this day like keep in your head, or is like the first thing that you remember, like if on set or behind the camera?
As far as film goes,
it's film or anything like.
Oh man, that's a deep well. I latch onto a lot of philosophical analogies, conversation, and I love so many things that I can pull out of my back pocket and answer. But whenever it's that broad, my dad used to quote Will Rogers to me growing up, and there was always things like, "I never met a man I didn't like." So implying that
I hear that a lot out here.
You could meet a male, but that doesn't mean that they're a man. A man, stands up for themselves. They hold themselves a certain way. They have respect for other people, and they take pride in themselves and all that kind of stuff. So I really like that quote. But I'm trying to buy time to figure out when I think is going to. Another Will Rogers one was buy land. They're not making any more of it. That's a financial thing, but. I don't know. Maybe we circle back to that one.
All right. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. There's a lot of them, like especially if you have like a lot of like positive and negative in life. Like the positive always outweighs negative. It doesn't matter what it is, and you always learn from it. Like on my last interview I did, I said, if you ain't failing, you ain't learning. Like that's just it. Like that's
true. Well, and I could have went another route, which I totally disagree with. I've failed so many times, and I think I have a decent amount of confidence, but I don't want to sit and tell people like, "Oh, you can do anything." Well, I'm not ever going to be Michael Jordan. I don't care if I put 10 times as much effort into being a basketball player. I will never be Michael Jordan. Know your boundaries. Know what you're passionate about. And pursue it by all means. But if I'm thinking I'm going to be an NBA player, let's reality check. But as far as something like this, keep going. I mean, everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. And so in that sense, don't give up. But have you ever heard of Kid President?
No.
Okay, it's a little black guy, and he's like,
oh, is he on YouTube?
Yeah. It's a soul pancake thing, but he's like, follow your dreams unless your dreams are stupid. You can find another dream.
I know what you're talking about.
I love that. So, but the thing is, just be realistic and know more about yourself and what you're capable of and what you're willing to sacrifice and what you're not. For me, I've got a wife and kids and a day job that I love, so that's kind of what's holding me back from just blowing up and just really diving in with all my energy into the film industry, because we got opportunities here in Oklahoma.
Right, and it's gonna keep climbing.
Yeah, it is.
I'm excited for all this to just keep going up. What did you find most challenging about like your career and like filming?
In film?
Yeah.
Time. Balancing what do I invest my money, my hard-earned money in? Is this really going to make me a better filmmaker? Is this really going to is this going to lead to more jobs? Do I want to buy something cheap, or do I want to buy something that's 10 times more expensive but I might use for the rest of my life? Figure out what the industry needs and what you can actually use and market to continue to do it, because you got to make money if you want to continue to do it on a certain level. Indie filmmaking is difficult.
Yeah,
is difficult because you got to do things like get the mop handle and make the boom mic and make it work. Is that the most efficient way, most quality way? No, but in the here and now, that's what you needed at that moment.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say find what you're passionate about, and that's where your money's going to go. And make sure that you've got the story or the effort put into it to make that video or film or whatever something that people want to view.
And to keep like watching or share with their friends or family.
But at the same time, I'm saying this, you don't want to you talk to musicians and they'll say, well, I don't write this music for anybody else except for me. Because then you get into those like Nashville producers, like, write this song about the dog underneath the porch in your pickup truck, and don't write to an audience, but write something that and you're passionate about that would also be valuable to other people. So all those bubblegum pop stars and stuff like that. Is that good music?
Yeah. That's all right.
Same thing applies in film, I think.
I can see it.
A lot of people say that, somebody like Michael Bay, they blow up stuff. Their visuals are great and everything, but is the story good?
Yeah, that's right.
Depends on what you're looking for, I guess.
Like that dude loves to blow up shit.
I like to watch stuff blow up, I'll be honest.
But I mean, not over and over again in every movie. We was actually just talking about him the other day. What's one piece of advice you would like to give, like, the younger generation coming up into like filming and whatnot?
Oh, this one could get me in trouble.
I will bleep it out.
So for me, this is, I'm not giving it. See, the thing is, I was a counselor for 16 years in mental health and at churches and stuff, and I never gave direct advice, because if somebody took my advice and it didn't work out, then they could blame me. Like, well, you told me to go talk to them about how I felt. So advice is kind of scary. But for me, I went to college, got my degree in psychology from OSU. Great experience. I learned all kinds of stuff. The education piece of it, psychology wasn't at the time a super marketable degree. But I started a recording studio back then, and I had my best friend that we were able to purchase some recording equipment. We built a recording studio. And I got more education out of having this mixing console in front of me and recording bands and reading manuals and watching YouTube and people teaching us how to do all this stuff. And I made my own education, so I was so passionate about it, I was willing to sit and read manuals at night on how to use my equipment. And so if I had had the money that I put into my college education to spend on gear, then I could have turned that money or turn that investment into profit. But I do have a day job that uses my psychology degree.
Yeah.
So if a young kids want to make stuff, man, you can learn so much stuff on YouTube.
Make sure you're like heart and minds into it, because if you don't, you're just gonna have a camera that sits in the corner collecting dust because you don't want to figure it out, or your mind wasn't in it.
Yeah. I mean, how many times do you hear people getting a guitar and they play guitar for a week and then that guitar sits in a case forever?
I sold it.
Yeah.
I would think about it for like...
If you're not using it, if you're not that passionate about it, get rid of it. Use that money, put that passion into something else. Explore.
I spent like $200 on that dang guitar, and turned around and sold it for like $50.
Yeah.
Just because I got tired of it. It sat in the corner for like a year.
If it wasn't being used, man, that's the same thing with camera gear. I mean, a lot of indie filmmakers will understand what we're talking about there.
Oh yeah. Dude, it's frustrating at times, but hey, you'll get it done.
Yep.
And
keep plugging away.
What's a especially for indie filmmakers? This is a good question for y'all. What makes a good team that you think?
Ooh.
All right, I'm trying to word it differently than advice. So like, what in your opinion is better? Is a good idea for like building a strong and creative team? Like,
are you talking to them? Is this like a hypothetical for them?
No, I'm just like it's me. It's for you.
Okay.
It's for you, but we're gonna. I don't know.
We actually talked about this a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to build a couple teams before, and for me, there are people that you would like to have over to your house and sit down and play cards with and have a personal relationship, but those may not be the same people that you want to go work on a paying gig because their work ethic might not be there. And then there's people that you would work all day long with because they're such hard workers and they're good at what they do, but you wouldn't really want them to come over and play cards with you, that kind of thing. And so the best of both worlds would be great. But as far as a crew, somebody you can trust is the main thing.
Time efficient.
And if they're passionate about it and they're willing to learn, even though they may not be an actual soundy, but if they can and they're capable of learning how to isolate a microphone and get the right gain settings and frequencies, and know when to pay attention if a plane's coming over, and if they can pick up stuff like that and you can trust them and they're passionate about it, then if it's not a paying gig especially, then that's just where you start.
Mm-hmm.
Trust.
Do you have any shout outs for these people?
Shout outs for I would have to okay, yeah, do I just name them? Just like list them off? Okay, so I gotta go Chuck Price. The guy has just leaps and bounds helped me transition from videography to legit cinematography, director of photography type stuff, understand more of the flow of being on set and who's responsible for what. I learned big time on my first deal of what not to do more than I did of what to do. Don't do too many things, focus on one thing. Then Dane Warner's producer on that. He's fantastic about managing people, different personalities, getting people put in the right place. The whole crew, Into the Road Productions crew. Then I got to shout out to Jeff Gabor. He's been a big, guy that I've been working with. He was kind of an AD on the 1921 Black Wall Street. Did a fantastic job. He did some stuff with the Ken Zacker as well. Then Kevin Robertson, he was on the 1921 Black Wall Street. He showed up a couple times and helped on set with Ken Zacker as well. And then I might as well say hi to Jaron and Calvin, because they've been on all three of the things as actors. But I mean, yeah, I could keep saying names, but if I do, then it's just like, you didn't say anything on that podcast about me. So
right.
Thank you guys all. I mean, really, it's a teamwork thing.
Oh yeah.
None of it gets done by yourself. I've tried to do it by myself. It sucks.
Yeah, it does. Well, this is Waves Weekend, bro. So thank you for being here, bro.
Yeah.
It's good to have
Thanks
you.
for having me. I don't know that I deserve to be on it, but I'm glad that you had me. I'm like really flattered to be here, and I love talking film stuff. So
we're gonna have a table talk later. Not like a table talk. I call it a sit and chat.